This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I grew up with low self-esteem. It was me and my mama, just us in the trauma. Hands up if you know what I mean. I see you, I feel you. I want you to know that you're not alone. I know what it's like not to have a home. Like walking barefoot up a gravel road. The pain gon' make you unstoppable. Now audible. Feel like I live in the end zone. I'm the one leading the drives. The crew riding round in a benzo. Red carpets when we arrive. I'll be in charge of my own fate. Left the excuses behind. Now I'm the illest violinist alive. I took the pain and I fight. But look at me now. I used to crash on the couch. Now I got cash in the bank. Look at me now, she didn't want me around. Now she's begging me to stay. Look at me now, nobody knew who I was. Now everyone's screaming my name. Look at me now, I couldn't look at myself. Now I see the mirror and say,
is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it. It does not matter who the host is because it never has. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Today's Tuesday, January the 16th of 2024. Well, guess what? 16th of the year, duh. Day 16th of the year and only 350 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. Yes, that would be Orlando, Florida. Yeah, that's what we do. That's where we're broadcasting from. That's where we're doing our thingo. So, that's it. That's what we have going on. Anyways, we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place, that other place we do stuff at, over there.
Radio. USA, Canada, UK.
Yes, USA, Canada, UK. That's the way that it goes. That's the layout to the land. That is the way that things have happened, occurred, and moved from. So there you go. Anyway, so how was your weekend? Did you do the 3-dayer? Did you have a 2-dayer? I know yesterday being Martin Luther King Day, we were up in the air about what to do. So we took the path less traveled and didn't show up. That's what happened yesterday. If you were on the lookout yesterday, you probably got a nice rerun if you were on Showtime, if you were on Safety FM. So that's what occurred over there. Outside of that, well, we do our thing here. If you're new to the show, it's a simple process. We talk about safety in the news and safety, that's for sure. And then we kind of go down the path of things that there are to happen. So don't look at that. Don't worry about that. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process. Callinradio.com. Yeah, callinradio.com will get you moving and grooving inside of here. Not bad, not difficult. Call in radio will do it all for you. So that's all you have to do. Click there. There's also some options to do it on social media, but listen, I'm going to tell you. We have the social media options. The problem that we run into here is that if you go to the social media options, I don't check these things in real time. So what happens is we don't see anything until after the show. Yeah, that's what happens most of the time. So let's not get too boring. Let's not get too mixed up on what we do here. We are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. We have some professional broadcasters that come in and they do their thing. Yeah, news from last night will be interesting as we have a discussion this morning. So we'll get into all of that stuff. and, give you a little bit more. So after the professional broadcasters come in and do their thing, we come in and do our thing. So don't worry. We got it all sorted out for you. We got it all moving and grooving. We got it all where we'll talk a little bit about everything. So with that being said, why don't we talk real quick about what the hell was trending, because that might help.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I look at the trends of the ends of the ends of the ends, farmers take to the streets in Germany, and a classic comic sells for big bucks. We'll talk about that. The Rolling Stones are working on a new album, and Shannon Dorothy doesn't want you at her funeral. Yeah, you heard me correctly there. Wonka hits $500 million, and Giannis Docs heads to Amazon Prime. We'll talk about that. And also another scheming lie from the House of Sussex is exposed. So we'll get into all that stuff as we're hanging out on this lovely Tuesday morning. Yeah, lovely Tuesday. Yeah, what a time, huh? I would say what a time to be alive, but normally that's the line I use for another show. So don't worry about that. So with that being said, let's get you into the news with the professional broadcasters talking about what they want to talk about.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Donald Trump is taking a victory lap after winning the Iowa caucuses on Monday.
And I really think this is time now for everybody, our country, to come together. We want to come together, whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative. It would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world.
While speaking in Des Moines, the former president said now is the time for the country to unify. Trump easily won the Iowa caucuses in the first major test of the Republican primary race. The victory is the first step towards a 2024 rematch between Trump and President Biden. Trump this week heads to New Hampshire ahead of that state's January the 23rd presidential primary. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is out of the hospital and recovering. The Pentagon said he was released from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center Monday. Austin was admitted to the hospital 2 weeks ago due to complications from prostate cancer surgery. The Pentagon did not disclose Austin had been hospitalized until days after he had been admitted. Boeing is taking a hard look at quality control after a door plug blew open on an Alaska Airlines flight. Brian Shook reports.
The company is planning additional inspections for its 737 MAX planes. In an email to employees, CEO of Boeing's Commercial Airplanes Division, Stan Deal, said he'll bring in an outside party to make an assessment on the quality management system. He also wrote that Boeing has been trying to improve its layers of protection in recent years, but the recent incident makes it clear the manufacturer is not where we need to be. I'm Brian Shook.
And the judge in the Brian Kohberger case is ordering the prosecution to turn over more information about how he was connected to the murders of 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Investigators used genealogy tracing from DNA found on a knife sheath to identify Kohberger. The defense wants to know more about that process and get the indictment dismissed. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Former US President Donald Trump's achieved a record win in the Iowa caucuses. The US says Iranian missile strikes near Erbil in Iraqi Kurdistan were reckless and imprecise. New Delhi and Tehran have discussed Houthi attacks on shipping vessels in the Red Sea during Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar's visit to the country. And UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's flagship Rwanda migration legislation returns to UK Parliament later.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy is dropping out of the race for president.
As of this moment, we are going to suspend this presidential campaign. And this is going to have to be, there is no path for me to be the next president, absent things that we don't want to see happen in this country.
Ramaswamy suspended his bid after a disappointing showing in Monday's Iowa caucus, deciding instead to throw his support to former President Trump, who was declared the night's winner. He told supporters there were 2 America First candidates. that he called Trump earlier in the evening to congratulate and endorse him. A fake 911 call is being blamed for sending emergency crews to the White House Monday morning. Officials said the bogus call claiming the White House was on fire was made just after 7 a.m. Eastern. Emergency crews worked with the Secret Service to determine there was no fire emergency within minutes. President Biden was at Camp David at the time of the incident. This comes as several politicians have recently fallen victim to so-called swatting incidents. Electric vehicles are getting a bit more affordable. Michael Kastner explains.
That's thanks in part to Hertz, the rental car company that's selling a lot of its EV inventory. That includes high-mileage Tesla Model 3s, starting at around $20,000. The Chevy Bolt EUV is also selling on the Hertz website, starting at around $22,500. Hertz is selling about 20,000 electric vehicles after the cost of maintenance proved to be more than expected. I'm Michael Kastner.
This year's Miss America winner is an Air Force pilot. Second Lieutenant Madison Marsh was crowned during Sunday's pageant in Florida. The 22-year-old Colorado native is a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy and becomes the first active duty officer to ever win the Miss America title. She's also a master's student in public policy at the Harvard Kennedy School. And the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards are in the books. Succession took home the trophy for Outstanding Drama Series, while The Bear won the Outstanding Comedy Series Award. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, listening to something magical. All right, 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this terrific Tuesday, that is for sure. So let's start talking right away about some of the things that are going on inside of the world, because that is what you're here for. So after some close calls a few weeks ago, lava from the active volcano in Iceland has inflicted damage on some homes. So there you go. And properties. The two fissures opened on Sunday, causing lava flows that overcame previously erected barricades in some spots. Though the protective measures are working elsewhere, NPR reports that locals in Iceland have again fled their homes, and at times lava flows have damaged several buildings. Some of the meteorologists call this an eruption of the most significant in half a century. This is according to NPR. Yeah, NPR saying all the good stuff. So what do you think as we are talking? And I will tell you, there is a crap load. And when I say a crap load of videos that are available out there of this stuff going on, you can go out there and find them. There is no doubt about it. I would show them to you, but I kind of go, if you're on the radio, you're not going to see it, and I'm not going to give you enough descriptors to be able to tell you anything about it. So there you go. So what's not to love? Fresh off its upset win of Dallas over the weekend, Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love looks like even more of a hometown hero. A 20-year-old Green Bay local posted a selfie with Love late last week after he tried to help her get a car unstuck from a mound of snow. Lucy Krenelke and Love saw her struggling to get out of her parking lot from her hair appointment when he pulled over and offered assistance. Ultimately, even the NFL pro couldn't free the car, but Krenelke says that she was in a state of shock during the whole encounter. This is according to Fox 11, so there you go. What a nice guy, right? What a nice guy. What else? A German government considered a plan to end tax subsidies on diesel fuels. Farmers have brought their tractors into the capital city of Berlin in protest of the measure. The farmers have shut down traffic and restricted freeway access to force the government into backing down. The German Farmers Association rejected a January 4 measure that would more slowly phase out the diesel tax breaks. Germany finance minister has acknowledged publicly that the original plan was too much and too fast, and signaled that he understood and needed to scale back some provisions. This is according to ABC News. So if you did see this, there was some videos, I want to say about a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it has to be a couple of weeks ago. Could be much more than that, of these tractors being on the street, but a lot of people not referencing it on the news. But it was there for the world to see. No doubt about that. Anyways, officials in Albuquerque arrested a man on Friday after he pulled a gun on another customer in a Popeyes parking lot. He's been charged with aggravated assault for some unclear reason, tampering with evidence. There is a twist, though. The suspect, Aaron Jones, owns a national security company called International Protective Services. But wait, the initial criminal complaint says that Jones pulled the gun out after another guy made vulgar comments towards his daughter. So who's really the bad guy? This is according to KOAT Yeah, KOAT. So what do you think? Vulgar comments, does this deserve a gun pulling? I mean, I'm just trying to understand it because, it's one of those weird things that one can never understand. So take a listen to this one. A copy of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 sold for more than $1.3 million at auction, setting a new record for the highest price of the issue that has ever gone for. The nearly perfect copy was part of a larger scale through Dallas-based Heritage auction that included a copy of Superman 1, which sold for $2.3 million. The Amazing Spider-Man, which tells the story on how Peter Parker got his powers, was released back in 1963 and sold for just 12 cents at the time. Talk about a return on investment, especially if you bought it for 12 cents. So there you go. Take a listen to this. Former football player Norm Snead has died. He passed away on Sunday in Naples, according to multiple reports. No cause of death was given. Snead played for I can't even speak, for 4 Pro Bowls through his 16-season career while playing for the Giants, Eagles, and Vikings. He was 84 at the time of his passing. For 4 Pro Bowls. I couldn't even say that. For 4 Pro Bowls. Listen to that. So what do you think? If you're a football fan, you know who he is. If you don't, it's one of those things that you might be lost in translation, but definitely a loss that has occurred right there as we are talking. No doubt about that. So what should we talk about? Well, I think it's time to talk about those things that we talk about right now that we call some money matters. So why don't we do this? Let's bring in some Aaron Royale right now for that.
Microsoft briefly overtook Apple last week as the most valuable company. Mark Mayfield with the story.
Apple soon reclaimed its number one position where it's been since 2021 because of the iPhone. Shares in the company were off to a weak start in 2024, while Microsoft shares rose sharply because of AI technology. Microsoft shares closed a half a point higher Thursday, and its value rose during trading, making it for a time worth over $2.9 trillion.
A deal brokered by congressional leaders this past weekend could avert a government shutdown later this week. Rory O'Neill reports.
The deal is a 2-step plan that would temporarily fund parts of the government through March 1st, the rest through March 8th. This would give the House and Senate negotiators more time to hammer out details to a $1.6 trillion spending plan. The conservative House Freedom Caucus is already signaling its disapproval. The continuing resolution has to reach President Biden's desk by Friday to avert a government shutdown. I'm Rory O'Neill.
A new report says the world's 5 richest men have more than doubled their wealth since 2020. According to the nonprofit Oxfam, the combined wealth of the elite group that includes Tesla CEO Elon Musk, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and investor Warren Buffett jumped from $405 billion to nearly $870 billion in the past 3 years. In issuing the report, the charity called on governments to rein in corporate power to reduce the gap between the ultra-rich and the rest of society. Mean Girls is making fetch happen at the box office. The adaptation of the Broadway musical, based on the 2004 teen classic, beat expectations and raked in $33.2 million over the 4-day MLK holiday weekend. Meanwhile, Jason Statham's The Beekeeper took in $19 million in its debut. The biblical satire The Book of Clarence earned just $3 million against the $40 million production budget. Consumer and business news, Aaron Royale, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Aaron, for that information right there. No doubt about that. As we are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday, as it is 23 minutes past the top of the hour. So there you go. Let me tell you a little bit about what I was able to uncover, because those are the things that I would need to talk about. Markets were closed on Monday in observance to Martin Luther King Day Jr. So West Texas Intermediate closed at $72 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $78 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.07 on Monday. Bitcoin gained more than 2%, trading just around 42,700 on the evening. And there was more than 7,410 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, with about 2,760 cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $208 million or $101.5 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you still have the opportunity to do so. So there you go. So I'm going to tell you, we would normally talk about some of the stuff that is going on in showbiz. What we're going to do is we're going to leave that for hour 2 and 3. If you want to hang out with us on the Jay Allen of the Morning Show on the other side. So we'll talk about that as we are talking. So we'll do that over there if you want to come and hang out. So no problem there. And we'll do that at the top of the hour. So there you go. Because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff that happened. So there you go. So take a listen to this. Police in Queens, New York says that a man on a mop has been robbing young women and girls in Queens. Andrew Whitman has the info. So there you go. On a moped. Yep, moped. Take a listen to this.
They're reporting 4 incidents since late December. The man rides up, grabs the chain off his victim's necks, then rides off. His first victim, a 15-year-old girl in Sunnyside. Tuesday the 9th, he did it to a 16-year-old in Sunnyside. Then last Wednesday, he robbed an 11-year-old girl. His target Thursday was 23. No one's been hurt. Police say he drives a dark-colored moped, and police have released video of the suspect. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
So there you go, grabbing necklaces via a moped. What a deal. I mean, I just don't understand that one whatsoever. Take a listen to this. State Highways Administration crews have been working 12-hour shifts to clear Maryland roads of snow and ice from the winter storm that started on Monday. Spokesperson Charles Gissar says that if you have to be on the roads, give the plows and salt on trucks plenty of room, please.
Stay behind our equipment. They're literally clearing a path for you. And just never be in a hurry behind the wheel.
Never be in a hurry behind the wheel. What do you live on that you think that would be the part of the case? Anyways, Maryland State Police say that they responded to 125 crashes and 41 disabled vehicles between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Monday. And troopers also answered 350 calls for service in Baltimore. Also, Baltimore City workers are monitoring the storm, and they have been working around the clock to clear the roads. Main roads are cleared first, followed by secondary sites and roads there. Elevated roadways like bridges, ramps, and overpass may have icy conditions, so drivers should use extra caution. School systems in central Maryland will be opening on a delay due to snow and a drizzle. Baltimore, Carroll, Cecil, Hartford, and Howard County schools will open 2 hours late. Baltimore City schools will also open with a 2 hours delay. SHA spokesperson says that there will be icy spots. Please use caution while on the road.
There is a chance of some slight refreezing, so we're going to be cognizant of that as well.
You know, I have to tell you, I'm not too much looking into going out on the road if it's frozen over, and what kind of risk is it worth to make it to school or to make it to work? I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question because it gets weird quick. Anyways, Howard County police are investigating an apparent double murder-suicide that took place. Detectives believe that 42-year-old Christopher Zansky shot and killed his 17-year-old son, Brandon, and a 15-year-old daughter, Haley, before turning the gun on himself. Neighbors like Keith White are shocked and saddened.
Who does that to their kids? I mean, that's just the worst thing I've ever heard. It's just unfathomable. It's horrific.
Police say the bodies were found at the home at the night after the officers were called to conduct a welfare check. Police are trying to determine what led to the shooting. The teens were both students at the high school, and Principal Sean Hastings has sent letters to the families letting them know that the supportive services are available for students and staff that are affected by the tragedy. So there you go. What an interesting thing. Because, of course, there's a lot of information there. Not sure. I should say there's some information there, not really giving you a lot of details of everything that happened, but some things to think about as we are talking, no doubt about that. So take a listen to this. In some other news, it was a big night for former President Trump with the Iowa caucus as he claimed a solid win.
And I really think this is time now for everybody, our country, to come together. We want to come together. Whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative, it would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world.
Governor Ron DeSantis finished second place, followed by former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Entrepreneurs Ramaswamy called the rap after his disappointing showing, deciding to instead to publicly endorse Trump. Next up, in New Hampshire primaries will be on January the 23rd, where Haley has been surging through still although still behind Trump. So we'll take a look and see what happens here. What is it, the 16th? So you got about a week before we got to take a look at those. So there you go. Also, the march that goes on for the city of Denver celebrating Martin Luther King Day despite its historical cold day. Congressman Joe Neguse joined the crowd on Monday to spread the MLK message. Take a listen.
Thank you for braving the cold today to honor Martin Luther King's legacy. Just because it's a little cold doesn't mean hate is going away. Just because it's a little cold doesn't mean prejudice is going away.
The mayor and other lawmakers were also in attendance, but it was one of the coldest days in the century in Denver, shortening this year's event that usually draws out tens of thousands of people. And the crowd gathered in city parks and marched to the Civic Center Park. They were also helped out by 2 warming centers, hand warmers, and hot drinks to fight sub-zero temperatures. One marcher says that he wasn't going to let the weather stop him from going out to the Denver MLK parade. So there you go. Take a listen.
Absolutely not. We do it every year. Rain, snow, or shine. It's important.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I understand that it's important, but gee, at what portion do you start thinking about, hey, the temperature might be a little much in regards of what's going on? I'm just asking the question, of course. Let me talk about this real quick because this one was kind of hidden. And maybe you might have missed it, but take a listen to this real quick. CVS is closing dozens of pharmacies inside a Target store. Take a listen to what Brad Siegel has to say.
A spokesperson with the company says the closings are part of CVS's plan to reduce store and pharmacy density. It comes as the drugstore industry has been hit by challenges like worker shortages and competition from mail-order pharmacies. The pharmacy closures will start in February and will be completed by the end of April. Employees impacted by the closures will reportedly be offered similar roles within the company. The closures are part of CVS's plan to shutter roughly 900 of its stores across the country. I'm Brad Siegel.
Okay, thank you, Brad Siegel, for that one. So there you go. If you are going to CVS inside of a Target, you might have some problems just for information purposes. Let's talk about this. Nearly 40% of jobs around the world could be affected by artificial intelligence. Michael Kastner has more.
Business leaders around the world, including the International Monetary Fund, are warning of the troubling trend that they say will worsen inequality in the workplace. In a blog post yesterday, IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva noted the more devastating impact AI could have on advanced economies like the U.S., as white-collar workers are considered more at risk than manual laborers. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, so what do you think when you hear stuff like that? Does it kind of get you thinking about some other stuff? Or do you look at it and go, well, not 100% sure that it will have an impact for what I do for work? I'm always kind of intrigued by what people have to say when it comes to that information right there. No doubt about it. Take a listen to this real quick. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is out of the hospital. Mark Mayfield has more. Take a listen to this one.
The Pentagon said he was released from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Monday. Austin was admitted to the hospital 2 weeks ago due to complications from prostate cancer surgery. He will work remotely for a period of time while having full access to secure communications capabilities. The Pentagon did not disclose Austin had been hospitalized until days after he had been admitted. Lawmakers have demanded answers about why the White House and Congress were not notified about the hospitalization. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Were they not notified or were they just not sharing? Maybe that's the other question to ask there because one never knows. Anyways, it is that time to do that thing that we do around this time. So let's go ahead and get into our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time as we are 33 minutes past the top of the hour and we get to hang out on this lovely Tuesday and talk about all kinds of interesting stuff that is going on inside of the world, inside of the thing. Listen, I sometimes swear that when we get to hang out, we talk about some stuff and we talk about things that are happening inside of the industry, and I don't understand at the time of this. And it's that whole thing that we talk about people repackaging stuff that already exists, but them slapping their own code on it, slapping it like it's their own creation and running with it. And it was interesting that yesterday I was having a conversation with a mutual acquaintance. Yeah, we'll just talk about an acquaintance of the show. And hearing them talk about a good salesperson is able to repackage information in regards of things that are out there. And they do it extremely well. That's Sales 101. And I sat back for a moment as I was taking a listen to that and go, for years, you and I have been sitting here and talking about how disturbing that is in regards to people doing that. In regards of taking material and looking at it and repackaging it and resurfacing it in regards of what is going on. So I sit here this morning and I go, have this whole time I've been wrong in regards to what I talk about here, in regards to people repackaging stuff, or is that the right way to do it? Now, I know that sometimes people are wanting other people's interpretation of something to see if it can be simplified, and I get that portion. But repackaging it and trying to claim that it is yours is a little frustrating. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, yeah, no. That has not bothered me because I'd be lying if I told you that. But I'm also looking at this and going, maybe the repurposing of things could be the better understanding of it. Now, have you ever went somewhere and looked at some stuff and said, I really don't have a true understanding of this, but then you heard somebody else's interpretation of the same material and it changed? Now, what is it, a resurfacing, or was it a repackaging, or was it something that you went, oh, this makes a lot more sense to me? Because if that's the case, then this is a different story of what we've been talking about for years. But what pisses me off, because I'm not going to lie here, is when somebody sits here and tries to repackage something 100% as their own creation, even though it's almost verbatim something else that somebody else has made. Like, you remember during COVID, and I'll say the word here, and when people were taking stuff that already existed and saying, oh, yes, this will apply to your new COVID policy. And it was stuff that was already there. It was stuff that already existed throughout. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me in regards of people doing that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me in regards of people taking a look around and going, okay, this is the thing to move forward with. So what do you think? What do you look at and go, okay, that makes sense, or it doesn't make sense? I don't know. I'm on both sides of the equation here. So is repackaging the right way, or repurposing the right way, or having a better explainer and trying to say, hey, listen, this is the material and where I got it from? I don't know. I always think that the sourcing might be the better way of getting the info.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free to use the code SafetyFM-free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free with code SafetyFM-free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
I know what it's like not to have a home, like walking barefoot up a gravel road. The pain gon' make you unstoppable. Now audible, feel like I live in the end zone. I'm the one leading the drives, the crew riding round in a benzo. Red carpets when we arrive, I'll be in charge of my own fate. Left the excuses behind, now I'm the illest violinist alive. I took the pain and I fight, but look at me now. I used to crash on the couch, now I got cash in the bank. Look at me now, she didn't want me around, now she's begging me to stay. Look at me now, nobody knew who I was, now everyone's screaming my name. Look at me now, I couldn't look at myself, now I see the mirror and say, look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I wonder if I made you cry, following dreams like your favorite content creator. I promise my mama I'll make it, that woman the queen.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour.
That's what they say to me now. What you expect?
As you and I are hanging out on this lovely Tuesday. No, seriously, it's a lovely one. This right here, Clajon. Look at me now. Available for streamer. Available for streaming. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music. Thanks to Clajon for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Like I said, look at me now. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Seriously. So there you go. What'd you think? Some Clajon? No, really. I mean, like I tell you all the time, we try to play as much different music as possible here. I like it a little bit all. I like a little bit of all of it. Only thing I don't know. We get into some weird folksy stuff every once in a while, but in some of it's even good there. So there you go. Anyway, so let's talk about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. So no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Yeah, things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you. So all you have to do is go to twloha.com, click on the section that says Find Help. All kinds of information for you right there. It has everything dealing with addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. So just to name a few things that the website has to offer on there. All you have to do is go to twloha.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. twloha.com. That will get everything moving that general direction for you, so don't worry about that as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking a little bit more about some things that are going on inside of the world. And let's talk about the day club. Yeah, you heard me right. It just might be the next big thing. A nightclub that can only open in the daytime. Yeah, British actress Vicky McClure and her husband Johnny Owen said they've come up with an idea for a day club or a nightclub that's open during the day, then shuts early so that you can grab a bite and then catch a train home in time to catch some Saturday night TV. As a nod to the Bee Gees' party classic, Night Fever, all-day discos are called Day Fever and aimed for people at a certain age. The over 30 crowd, doors open at 2 p.m., last entries at 4 p.m., and partygoers are asked polite to dress smartly like they used to when they were when they went night clubbing. Following the successful daytime disco in Sherfield, more have been scheduled in London and South Wales. Other organizers plan to take their drop-in disco in towns and sites across the UK. As Owen points out, there's a big advantage to the daytime clubbing and are being home early enough for a match of the day, and it doesn't ruin your Sunday. I still have to go nodding off at the bar, so there you go. I don't know. And dance in the afternoon away just doesn't have the same ring to it. So I mean, I don't know. What do you think about this? It's not like this is some big super secret stuff. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. These people are part of like lounges. You know what I'm saying? What do you think they're doing during the day? They're dancing their ass off. Yeah, they're dancing their ass off over there. So there you go. Take a listen to this. I found this one. But men are often accused of exaggerating cold systems or let it cut to the chase. They're often accused of being out and out wuss when it comes to dealing with the seasonal illness. But according to experts, men feel the effect of cold or a flu differently than women do. Dr. Eleanor Fish, a professor of immunology in the University of Toronto, points out that men and women have subtle differences or different immune systems, which means that they do respond to infections differently. How so? For starters, researchers show that males are more vulnerable to respiratory illnesses and more often hospitalized or even die of flu. The doctor also says that females have much more robust immune response, which means that they are able to clear infections more quickly. Another doctor, Dr. Kyle Sue, an assistant professor of medicine at the University of Alberta, agrees that males generally experience worse symptoms than women and believe that the differences may be hormonally related. I know I was sick last week, and I complained so much that my wife ran out to the store at 10 p.m. for ice cream to make herself feel better. Maybe just really love chicken soup. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a cluster of things that seem to go wrong. Who knows?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I am just saying. Take a listen to this. The San Diego company will be cutting jobs unless employees decide to relocate. Bree Tennis has more info.
Apple has a carbon neutral, 100% renewable energy facility in San Diego, and now they'll have 121 fewer employees. The company has told people working on Siri and AI their departments will be relocating to Austin, Texas. Employees have until the end of February to decide. If they don't relocate, Apple says they'll be laid off by April 26th. I'm Bree Tennis.
So what do you think? Do you move to Texas? I don't know. Austin's an interesting area, but hey, if you're in San Diego, that's a hard trade. I'm not going to lie there. So anyway, say listen to this. Governor Pritzker is representing President Biden, representing President Biden's campaign, re-election campaign in Iowa. While yesterday in Des Moines during the Iowa caucus, the governor blasted Trump's MAGA agenda. Take a listen.
No matter which version of the Trump MAGA agenda wins tonight, original, heels, or boots, the platform they are fighting for will cause irreparable harm to this country.
So there you go. Pritzker also said that the people rejected MAGA's extremism in 2018, 2020, 2022, 2023, and again in 2024. So there you go. It'll be interesting to see what happens as we move forward. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this. TikTok star Keith Lee is clearing up rumors on why his Bay Area tour last week came to a sudden close. Lee set the record straight in another video that dropped on Saturday.
Lee set the record straight in another video that dropped Saturday.
Number one, we didn't leave because of violence. Not at one point did we feel threatened or scared. We didn't get ran out of nowhere. I gave a list of reasons of why we left early, and one of those reasons is because I said I don't believe the Bay is fit for tourists at the moment. And I said that specifically based on the spots that we had went to.
The foodie said he didn't think any of the spots he went to were conducive to a 5 to 6 hour wait time and didn't want to send his followers to places that aren't designed for the long lines that his videos have been known to generate. Lee added he didn't have anything constructive to say about the restaurants he visited. Nika Magahis, NBC News Radio.
The foodie said that he thinks that any of the spots that he went to are conducted to the 5 or 6 hour wait times and didn't want to send his followers to places that aren't designed for long lines that the videos have known to generate. Lee added that he did not have anything constructive to say about the restaurants that he visited. Also, Keith Lee believes that his comments of his Bay Area food tour were miscommunicated.
But I never once looked at the entire trip to the Bay as a fail or a disappointment.
So there you go. What an interesting thing. Should I talk about this one? Yeah, let's talk about this one. An independent candidate running for president and made a recent campaign stop in Atlanta, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tells the Black Information Network that it was heartbreaking to leave the Democratic Party, but he says that the party kept changing the rules so that the current president could not lose his spot as a party candidate.
It was rigged in a lot of other ways too that are complex. They had superdelegates that would make sure that that President Biden couldn't lose. So at that point, when it became clear to me that there is nothing I could do to win, I decided to leave the party and go independent.
He says a large polling house actually showed him numbers encouraging him to take on President Biden and former President Trump. Kennedy says that he's optimistic after a Gallup poll showed that him leading Biden and Trump in favorably in young people and independents, which is now the largest group of voters in America. Presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says that he knows what he is up against.
I read the polls, and it seems pretty clear to me that my most likely opponents are going to be President Biden and President Trump.
He also says that the large polling house actually approached him about the possible candidacy.
He showed me these numbers that made it clear that I had a pathway where I could win. And I showed them to my wife, and we talked about it for probably 6 months. And then she said, yeah, I'm on board.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. also says that the Gallup recent poll gives him hope that voters will choose him for the job later this year.
I beat both President Trump and President Biden among young people under 45 years of age, and I beat them among independents, which is now the biggest political party. And I still have 10 months to the election, so I feel very optimistic about where we're headed.
It'll be interesting to see if an independent can actually win the bid to go to the White House or even go into the White House. Let's just talk about it. So who knows? Anyways, it is currently 53 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get John Smalls inside of here and let him tell you about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Allie. Elizabeth Elliott said, "To pray, thy will be done, I must be willing, if the answer requires it, that my will be undone." I love that. I've never really thought of this before, but it is so true. When you're praying the Lord's Prayer and you're asking His will be done, not our will, sometimes I struggle to know which is which. There are things that I feel that I'm called to do, But then I wonder, why? Is it because this is what I want to do? Or is this something that I'm really called to do? It can be a struggle to know the difference, but the difference between these two makes a big difference. I wish I had a better way to tell you how you can tell, but that's something I struggle with too. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
CVS is closing dozens of pharmacies inside Target stores. A spokesperson for the company says the closings are part of CVS's plan to reduce store and pharmacy density. This comes as the drugstore industry has been hit hard by challenges like worker shortages and competition from mail-order pharmacies. Well, every year many people fail to keep their New Year's resolution to start exercising regularly. If you're just starting to work out, you might want to first make an appointment with your doctor.
You need to make sure before you start any program that you have had a good physical.
Dr. Ensel says once you're cleared to start exercising, start slowly and pace yourself. Ensel says soreness or injuries can cause us to stop working out, and then we lose motivation. She says walking remains the best way to get up and moving and for weight loss. Health update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On radio.
Okay, there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. If I take a look around, back in 1991, the United Nations deadline for Iraq to remove invading forces from Kuwait comes and goes. Saddam Hussein had until midnight of January the 16th, 1991, to retreat from Kuwait. Just after midnight, President Bush authorized Operation Desert Storm that led by the General Norman. Major fighting would end on March the 3rd when Iraqi generals formally surrendered. That happened back in 1991. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about them. Eddie Benjamin turns 22. Corinne Walters turns 26. Katie Mullaney turns 37. Joe Flacco, 39. Lin-Manuel Miranda, 44. Kate Moss, 50. Greg Page, 52. Debbie Allen, 74. And John Carpenter turns 76 today. Yeah, thank you for Halloween. I really do appreciate that. So there you go. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. It's National Without a Scalpel Day. International Rubus Day, National Fig Newton Day, National Quinoa Day, National Religious Freedom Day, International Hot and Spicy Food Day, National Appreciative of a Dragon Day, there's one, National Good Teen Day, and National Nothing Day. So there's some nothing for you to celebrate. That's an interesting one, no doubt about that. If you need a random joke for today, here's one. I wouldn't exactly say I'm lazy, but it's good thing that breathing is a reflex. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What would the adult version of an ice cream truck sell, and what would the song would it be that it would play? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this one. Question: 33% of women say that this is one thing that they notice on a first date. What is it? Fingernails. So there you go. I wonder why that is, but we'll leave that for a whole other day, just so you know. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what the hell we have going on here, because it's always a good time when you and I get to hang out. No doubt about that. If you stay here on Safety FM, you'll get to hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus. If not, you can go over and hang out with me on RadioBig.fm, as we will talk about the world of music and entertainment. If you stay on Safety FM, you'll get to hang out and listen to Sheldon Primus talk about the world of safety consulting. The option's yours, of course. Always has been. Never let that change anything. Think about that as we are moving forward. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. Anyways, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
It's me and my mama, just us in the trauma. Hands up if you know what I mean. I see you, I feel you. I want you to know that you're not alone. I know what it's like not to have a home, like walking barefoot up a gravel road. The pain gon' make you unstoppable. Now audible, feel like I live in the end zone. I'm the one leading the drives. The crew riding round in a Benzo. Red carpets when we arrive. I'll be in charge of my own fate. Left the excuses behind. Now I'm the illest violinist alive. I took the pain and I fight, but look at me now. I used to crash on the couch. Now I got cash in the bank. Look at me now. She didn't want me around. Now she's begging me to stay. Look at me now. Nobody knew who I was. Now everyone's screaming my name. Look at me now. I couldn't look at myself. Now I see the mirror and say, look at me now.